So hello again, lads and ladettes. Welcome to the inaugural race of DRL Super Formula here today at the Red Bull Ring. I am your commentator for today, Nukeshot off Apple. As you may know, I go by many different names. That is the one I'm choosing to go by today. We did the pre-season at this track, so it should be a track that quite a lot of the drivers are familiar with, but we do have some new faces appearing since then. The series has been delayed a little bit. We've been having a little bit of a technical issue with the stream and with PlayStation Network itself, but so far we seem to be managing alright. Just gonna quickly do an audio check. Yep, okay, everything seems to be good on my end. So yeah, we are back at the Red Bull Ring. We have a fantastic looking grid of the Super Formula cars. Plenty of different engine suppliers as well, which makes this series a bit different to a lot of Super Formula series. Going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top. Going to be featuring two races today. The first race will be 30 minutes if I'm not mistaken, and the second race will be 20 minutes. And in race 2 it will be the top 8 that are reversed based on the race 1 results. That is how we are doing things. It will be a qualifying period of 10 minutes. We're not quite into qualifying as of yet. We're just in the open practice phase of the race. Again, going to be interesting to see how everyone manages that very special feature that these cars have, the overtake mode. Very, very tactical decision. Makes it more of a game of chess than racing has ever been before in terms of positioning your cars properly. Going to be good to see. We have a fantastic amount of entries, as I said. Currently, with the fastest time overall, it was, spoiler alert, a race winner, if I recall correctly from the preview event. It's RBZ Arama, previously RBZ Buick. They are in that Cosworth-powered Nukeshot Motorsport Motul car. And it would seem that qualifying is about to get underway. We'll take you through some more of the cars as they come. In return, Dynamic Racing Team as well. Checkered Flag Motorsports not represented today, I believe, as Tetsu Kabura isn't present. Looking down the order, Nuko Osso, that's an interesting little dynamic going on there. Essentially the second team of Nukeshot Motorsport that they are running with Ford engines. That would be the cars of John Wandering and GRM Bandit. John Wandering just making his way out the pits. We have BRT Jim, who is running for Raven West. It says here it's down with a Mercedes engine. It is indeed a Mercedes engine. It says on the side of that bright yellow machine, looking fantastic. I was just getting a bit confused because someone did have an engine manufacturer change. I can't quite remember who that was. I think it was the Ferrari team ran by Houdini Mayers. So anyway, Jim rather, leading them out on what was the first flying lap of this amazing circuit. Relatively short, relatively simple in terms of the amount of corners, but it is deceptively tricky to get it right. We have Roland Jumper here, the the second Irishman to the series, interestingly enough. Just trying to find them on the entry list here. With the Alfa Romeo branding, of course. Can't quite find them on the entry list for some reason. That's a bit odd. Might have to get that checked out. But indeed, it is Roland Jupiter, rather. Sort of a combination of, like, is it red? Is it orange? It's sort of that in between that Ferraris tend to be. We've had the first lap times come through. That's BRT Jim currently fastest with a 1:15.6, and Arama currently places second. Roland moves up to third. Mika displaced down to fifth, as that is Brandon, who has moved up to second overall in one of the other Alfa Romeos. So looking strong despite getting it all wrong and sliding about like a fish out of water all over the grass. Dynamic Carbon, of course, driving for Dynamic Racing Team, the BMW powered machines. Of course, they run BMWs in DTM as well, so the connection very strong. Fair to say it's a work supported outfit. You can tell that from the classic BMW M-Power stripes on the side, and that light dark blue and red combination. Had Spinny Boy Mika come across the line. Mika Wolfson, I've probably pronounced that completely wrong, but there you go. He requested that of me. He's done a 1:15.550. That displaces Jim down to second at this stage, and he's 1/10 up already on his best lap, so looking very impressive at this stage, as I would expect nothing less from a Nuke Shot Motorsport driver. Nice helmet. So Jim is currently second, making his way through the infield section. Another nice helmet there. Ooh, using all the road on the entry of the corner. Always good to see. Regarding the tyre compounds, I believe it is restricted to the mediums and the softs. Again, I shall have to double check that. Well, he's made his way into the pits, so just strapping on a new set of boots, and we'll be heading out shortly. No refueling, of course. A bit strange, I wouldn't have thought that the tyres would have worn out that quickly, but nevertheless, he is gone. As I believe that was someone changing up the order. I think that's because Roland's in the pits or something. But RBZ in the other main team Nuke Shot car, they're currently third. So good showing between the two of those so far, car 34 and 37, with Jim currently splitting them. First of the Alfa Romeos, still Brandon. Good showing by them so far. Gonna have to find about 4/10 or so if he wants to be very much at the sharp end of the field. Very impressive to see how close all of these guys are. The top 5 separated by, well, it was about 5/10 or so, but it would appear that Spinny Boy Mika has just gone a little bit faster. It's now a 1:15.337, 37 to match his racing number. I like that, nice touch. Oh, very solid drive by him, but Brandon has just gone even faster. Fractionally less than a tenth, 45 thousandths to be precise. That's a 115.292 for car number 11. Stamping his authority in the Alfa Romeo. And with a 10-minute session, got only about a quarter left to go. Brandon's ran wide at turn 2. Now we'll see if we can get an onboard of someone. We'll take it to the host of the series, Dynamic Carbon, to see if we can get a lap. He's backed off, but nevertheless he's going again. So turn 1, a very sharp sort of right angle turn, very easy to understeer off that. We do see that happen quite often. Then the very curved run up towards turn 2. Some people would classify this as a corner. Most people class it as a very curved straight. Turn 2, a very mean anti-cut on the inside, and there you see on the exit as well, very slippy curbing as you struggle to get the traction down going up the hill. Now descending into towards turn 3. You can see the gearbox just being shredded a bit by Carbon, not sure what he's doing there. But yeah, it opens up and heading now towards the turn 4 and 5 complex, which makes up the infield section. Very satisfying when you hook this bit up right. Carbon's a bit wobbly, at times needs to find his feet. Of course these guys running stock setups, so that is not helping their matters at all. BRT Jim, meanwhile, I've just noted, has set the new fastest lap of the qualifying session. It's a 1:14.788, so drastically faster than Brandon and Mika at this point. 5/10 clear. Jim is looking very, very set for a potential pole position here in Spielberg. Meanwhile, someone's just gone off the track. I'm not sure who that is up there. It's Brandon. So he took a little bit of a trip to the gravel. And nevertheless, he's going again. And with it being a 10-minute session, I believe I shall call the flag on the mark. As Brandon makes his way to the pit. Will there be any final improvements from anyone? Let's just see if we can skip ahead to some people who've got RBZ Orama. They're being chased down by Brandon, it would seem. Well, no, that's Jim, sorry. In the bright yellow car. Will they improve? They're coming up towards the line. Last corner, oh, run wide, but they keep it in a straight line. It's not an improvement. Didn't look like Jim improved on that lap either. Brandon's slow on that, and Mika also didn't seem to improve on that, so there's one car that's still going around. Not sure where they are. Oh, it's Roland. Again, using all of the track to their advantage. What's it going to be? It's going to be decent. It's an improvement by 9/10, so a very solid effort by Roland. That puts them up to 4th. Splitting the 2 nuke shot teammates of Mika and Orama. So good showing there by Roland in his first outing. Yeah, so fantastic stuff we've seen already. It is BRT Jim of Raven West Motorsports who has claimed pole position here today. Must have something to do with his racing number being 44. I'm just saying. But yes, 5/10 clear of Spinny Boy Mika, who qualified second, living up to his name. Roland Jupiter, third place in the Alfa Romeo. So good to see 3 different teams and 3 different engine suppliers all in the top 3 positions. As actually Brandon's just come out on track. So indeed it is still the case. So Brandon's going to be second, as they were just in the pit, so it didn't register for them, and it's going to be Spinny Boy Mika in third. So very strong showing by the Alfa Romeo duo to finish qualifying with second and fourth. At the moment it is the Mercedes powered Raven West car that seems to be dominating. Of course, a bit further down the order we have RBZ Orama. They qualified 5th in the end of proceedings. We have John Wondering, who took 6th. Didn't seem like they got that good of a lap under their belts, with it being 6.7 seconds off the pace. Let's hope that Nuko Osso car is not a Williams. Sorry, that probably is because of the commentator that will strike. Sorry in advance, John. Dynamic Carbon, I believe based on the times he should qualify ahead of John Wondering. Indeed, coming out of the pit lane now. As soon as he crosses that sector 1 borderline, it should update him. John Wonder in the chat telling us to tell Bandit to hurry up. That would be his teammate in Nuko Osso, the Ford powered squad. I believe we are waiting for him, I could be mistaken. All up to Dynamic Carbon as the host. That's normally what we tend to do. If someone's on their way, we tend to just wait up for them a bit. I mean, I'm just assuming, John, that you didn't get a clean lap in just because of the 5.4 second gap to Carbon, but we'll see. We shall see. Good to have you along, listening in. We have 5 viewers currently, 1 being myself monitoring the chat. Oh, his tyres weren't warmed up. Okay. Your team forgot to buy the tyre blankets. That's completely understandable. Oh, you was on mediums for that lap. Still, it is a little bit of a gap, even for mediums, but we shall see. We shall see. No doubt that Ford-powered car is going to be very solid. Or gonna have to see how things develop, of course. BRT Jim, fantastic job by car number 44 to qualify on pole. I already did pronounce your last name Mika Volson. Whatevs. And yes, that is as good as an attempt as you're gonna get. And hello to Houdini Mayers, who has joined us on the stream. I'm very much surprised that you're not driving today, considering you're on the entry list in your Caprari Porsche Super Formula Team entry. Unfortunate to not see you here. At least at the moment, I don't know if you'll quickly be jumping on. Yes, it's the infamous Yugas. Whatevs, fine. Mayers, Muyas, whatevs. I'll just call you Houdini from now on, just to stop the debate. Oh, okay, we're hearing from Brazil onwards that Houdini will be racing, so not here today. Let me just quickly check the schedule. Race calendar. Oh, so that'll be round 4 that he's going to be joining us, so that's going to definitely put a bit of a disadvantage to him in terms of the championship, but Houdini, we know, is a very experienced driver. Or at least I've known him for about a year or so. Year and a half, maybe. His cars are doing donuts. Surprised we're not seeing Spinny Boy Mika in this camera shot. So Brandon's currently got a 3-second penalty for being a peasant, or something along those lines, I assume. Oh, we're hearing that Roland may have crossed the line before, or rather after. Oh wait, no, before the flag was called, so... That's a development. Yeah, we'll just switch up the cameras to get rid of the names. Just to please the boss. Bit harsh, you'll get used to it. I call everyone peasants, that's how I roll as a commentator. As unprofessional as it may be. Yes, unbelievable scenes we're seeing here on the straight down towards turn 3 here at Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. So in case you missed it, BRT Jim, our pole sitter, or will be, by 0.5 of a second ahead of Brandon in the Alfa Romeo sponsored car. Believe it's Alfa Romeo engined as well. We'll have to get it confirmed. Only 45 thousandths back was Spinny Boy Mika in the first of the Nuke Shot supported cars. And it's Roland in the other Alfa Romeo who's qualified themselves 4th on the grid. However, still under investigation, it would seem, regarding perhaps crossing the line before the flag was called. No, after. My head's hurting. He crossed the line, yeah, after the flag was called out, meaning that his session should have ended 1 lap sooner or something, is what I've reportedly been heard in the chat of the lobby, at least. Now Carbon, I don't know, maybe that was the other Alfa Romeo that you're getting confused with, because there are 2 of them out there. Just double check, I did have the name tags of both the cars for qualifying. Oh, all the way up to 8 viewers here now, so thank you all for tuning in to Dynamic Racing Leagues, still not part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels. Been bigging up Jack Wilkinson on the cam since 2019. You looked at the timing? Fair enough. We'll look at the timing ourselves here, the live timing, where we get to see breakdown of the laps that were set. So Jim was the only one to crack down into the 1:14 14s. So far, very impressive stuff by the Brit. John wondering if GRM Bandit has missed the school bus, which could indeed be the reason why he has running a bit late. Has he not even messaged on Discord? I don't know, but Roland, meanwhile, going for a pit stop for some reason. Car number 7, that is. Oh, funny that, because there's another Alfa Romeo with the number 7 currently running, or will be running, I believe, this Sunday. The car of Kimi Räikkönen, of course, in Formula 1. Fantastic to see. Roland just having a bit of fun before the race starts. And the race has been started, so no Bandit today, it would seem. But we're about to get the race underway here at Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. Of course, as we saw, it was Jim who qualified his car on pole, followed by Brandon, Spinny Boy Mika in 3rd, Arama 4th, Roland 5th, Carbon 6th, and John Wondering qualified down in 7th, but reportedly on mediums. Oh, we're about to get underway here. Green, 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 and the cars are off. Beer to wheel spin. There's some great start by the car on first. It seemed that Brandon bogged down off the line, and that's allowed Spinny Boy Mika to challenge. Within a bit of a nuke shot sandwich, it seemed, as he made towards the braking zone, but he managed to hold both of them off. And already BRT Jim has got a commanding 1.2 second lead, and increasing as Spinny Boy Mika's diving down the inside. There's contact, and in fact that's allowed the other nuke shot car to dive through with him. Fantastic stuff. I am definitely not biased towards that. And now Brandon's going to have a bit of work to do as he, in the slipstream on the run down to turn 3, he's also diving down the inside. As he overcooked it? No, he's managed to get that to work. Will there be a bit of a cutback or something from RBZ? Already we're having a fantastic scrap for position. It seems like Spinny Boy Mika's breaking away from these two a little bit. A bit further back, Dynamic Carbon's managed to get all the way up to 5th at this point. So Roland down to 6th, as that's Dynamic Carbon in the gravel trap. And he's spun as well back into it, so that's really going to cost him time as Brandon's dove down the inside. And he's all over the back of him like a bad rash is RBZ. He's using the overtake mode to his advantage. Brandon's going defensive into turn 1. He's going around the outside, is he? Is RBZ? Unbelievable scenes as we now have the other Alfa Romeo, Roland, coming up to these guys. It's going to be a drag race as they make their way up to turn 2. Oh, the nuke shot car oversteer, or understeers rather. Oh, there's more contact, and that very nearly could have spun the car of RBZ around, but no. But it has unfortunately dropped them down 2 positions from that as they're battling away with the Alfa Romeos. Fantastic teamwork we've seen between the nuke shot cars and the Alfa Romeo cars already in the opening 2 minutes of the race. We're hearing a message from lobby host to back out. So not sure what's going on with that. Perhaps Bandit is coming or something. I'm not 100% sure. Still a fantastic scrap going on between these guys as Brandon runs wide. And in fact, it's surprising to see that it was Roland, the car that qualified lower down of the Alfa Romeos, who has managed to get up to third. And indeed, we're having cars backing out of the race because the time of day is wrong or something like that. Well, that was something to whet our appetites, I suppose. That was fantastic for as short as that was. That's going to cause a little bit of controversy, but I'm sure that we'll get everything underway again shortly. We're probably going to have to set the grid manually now, Carbon, if you are still listening in. Oh, the race time was 20 minutes, right. Of course, it's race 2 that is 20 minutes, but race 1 is 30. So that's what he meant, as Arama has just had his game crash. Hopefully he'll be back with us shortly. Mainly because my team needs points, but also because the more cards the better, but mainly because my team needs points. Brandon, still doing your sliding about. Good to see. We've got John wondering, indeed there is proof that he's on the mediums, and yet the sidewall is still red. I just assume that's a Super Formula thing with the time manufacturer being Yokohama. But perhaps he's starting on the mediums, perhaps that's what he's planning to do for a strategy call. Regarding the tire compounds, I could be mistaken. I think you have to use both compounds. I'll quickly check, see if it's in the rules. I wasn't surprised. It does indeed say that all drivers must use both the soft and medium compounds for both races, or rather for the same race, but that applies to both races, of course. And Bandit is finally here, so good stuff. More points for Nuke Shot backed cars. Of course, the second car of Nuko, also John Wondering's teammate. In fact, he'll be with us on track shortly. Just hoping Dynamic Carbon has set the grid manually at this point then, just to be sure that everything's working, because we're not going to rerun qualifying. Although if he didn't set the grid manually, then John Wanderer would technically be on pole. That would be quite a sight. If you really want to compete, Houdini, then just really, really hurry up. Oh wait. Oh, are they starting? I don't know. Just can't really tell by the text. Oh, they have started, so sorry about that, Houdini, but we're getting things underway. There is the car of GRM Bandit. So indeed the grid, still the same as it was before, is BRT Jim on pole, Brandon in second, Spinny Boy Mika third, RBZ fourth, Roland fifth, Dynamic Carbon in sixth, John Wonder in seventh, and GRM Bandit joining us in eighth. So about to get things underway here again at Red Bull Ring. That slight jump start by someone, didn't look like it. Green, 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 and the cars are off. Indeed, it looked like, oh, one of the nuke shot cars in the back, that's RBZ, going very slowly, had a bit of a poor start. Jim again gets away cleanly. It's a battle between two of the Alfa Romeos and a nuke shot car of Mika, as they're going nearly 3 wide towards turn 2, and somehow Mika's managed to get that to work, as Brandon and Roland swap positions, as Roland has a fantastic exit and will now be challenging Mika up towards turn 3, or down towards turn 3 rather, is descending. Thinks a bit better of making a dive bomb on that occasion. Oh, that was Brandon running a bit wide and forced RBZ to take a bit of evasive action. And all of this scrapping is again just letting BRT Jim just get away in that Raven West powered, oh, Mercedes powered Raven West car. But again, really intense stuff, and going to be very interesting to see how this develops. These two seem to have broken away as Mika runs very wide, almost all the way to Narnia and back. He's using that overtake mode. You can see the red light flashing on the back of the car. Can't quite get past again, as Roland has now gone off to Narnia. What on planet Mobius are these guys doing right now? There's a little bit of lagging going on a bit further back. You can see Dynamic Carbon chasing down the two, one of the Alfa Romeos, and that's also Arama that they've gone down the inside of. So good progress being made by the Irishman. They're making their way down towards turn 3. He slots in behind Brandon for now. As it would appear that Spinny Boy Mika has developed a bit of a gap towards or from Brandon, so it's starting to break away. Already fantastic scrapping going on. A bit further back as well, GRM Bandit trying to fend off Roland as well, so Roland didn't have the greatest of starts in that second Alfa Romeo, as someone's gone into the pits. That's Spinny Boy Mika. So they've gone into the pits, presumably with damage, from second place in the race, as Arama dives down the inside and an Alfa Romeo follows him of Brandon. Brandon couldn't quite get past on that occasion. Arama now having to defend. The BMW Dynamic Racing Team car easily gets past us. That is surely going to be an outbreaking indeed, as there's more contact between the Alfa Romeo and the BMW. Oh, Slide McGee's all round from Arama. He's just get his head down and focus. Oh, bit twitchy. Again, it's so difficult to drive the Super Formula cars with the stock setup. I myself can testify to that, having ran, I believe, some kind of pre-season race that was held at Interlagos. As Carbon is all over the back of Arama like a bad rash at this point. Going to a rear wing cam. Very good exit by Arama as Carbon dives into the pits themselves. So perhaps just switching from the mediums indeed to the faster paced soft tyres. Perhaps that was also what Mika was doing. Although I would have thought that Mika would have started on the mediums. I'll quickly check. No, they're on the mediums now, so that's a little bit odd, but nevertheless. A bit further up the order, so we also saw John wandering up into fourth. Getting a bit wide, we have Arama and Brandon second, or third and second respectively, as Brandon made a little bit of a mistake on the exit. Looks like he's closing up. Go on board again with the car of RBZ. Arama, there's a little bit of contact between that sort of invisible wall that the car seems to have. That sort of hitbox in a way. As perhaps the slipstream and the overtake mode combining. As he dives around the inside, does he know? Thinks better of it. Perhaps setting himself up for a run onto the start-finish straight. Didn't get as good of an exit on that occasion. Nevertheless, he is in third. And look at this, BRT Jim has absolutely checked out lap 5 and he's already got a 21-second gap to the car in second. Absolutely unbelievable scenes as RBZ is now challenging down the inside of Brandon. Banging wheels a little bit and front wing to rear diffuser, but manages to get through. Oh, still scrapping away at these two. Making their way towards the infield section of the track. Great thing about Red Bull Ring from what I've heard from people that have been there in real life is you can see a lot of the track from one location because of the way it's designed. As a little bit further back we see the two Nuco Osso teammates going at it for 4th and 5th. Bandit looking to dive down the inside of their teammate, and they get it done in fantastic style. Good stuff there between the American duo. Again, nice helmet. So that promotes GRM Bandit up into 4th ahead of their teammate. Spinny Boy Meek are the highest up of the ones that have pitted, I believe. So he's using the overtake mode there on the run up towards turn 2. Oh, braking quite late. He manages to get it done. Very solid exit. Didn't look squirmy at all. As it looked like there was a little bit of a slip from the car in 4th, I believe it was. Well, that was probably GRM Bandit. I just caught that on the mini-map. Nevertheless, he's pulling a bit of a gap to his teammate, John Wandering, in 5th. Arama's starting to get away a little bit from Brandon, in fact, so things looking alright for him at this stage. Again, it's looking extremely difficult for anyone to be able to keep up with Jim at this point, and indeed it is stock setup for this particular racing league. So it makes it all the more difficult for these guys, especially with putting down the power on the low speed corners where the downforce isn't there to help you. Brandon runs a little bit wide. Still RBZ doing a good job holding their ground, as that's Brandon who's just got it wrong. We'll have to see if we can get that on a replay. We're going on board with them. What happened? It just seemed like they outbroke themselves going into 3. Indeed, just trying to keep pace with Arama, and it just didn't quite work out for them, and that turned into a catastrophic one. Let's put them down into 4th, so GRM Bandit in fact is up into 3rd from that. And it looks like is that Mika actually who's making a pass on John Wandering, as That's Brandon who's gone into the pits. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. So this was on the run down towards the second to last, and it was a relatively simple out-braking maneuver that seemed to get it done. So Brandon in the pits. We'll go to them, and that bright red or bright orange pit crew looks more orange in that kind of lighting. So it said they were on the mediums, and it would appear they're now on the softs. Oh, they've just warped out of the pit lane. Okay. Well, they're on softs now, so they got their medium stint out of the way. But they have rejoined in last place. In fact, Roland, their teammate, 8 seconds up the road. I didn't have the greatest of starts in the world, did Roland, but he's still chipping away. And he's on his softs at this stage, so we'll have to see how that goes. Dynamic Carbon going for a move on John Wandering, and it seemed to work quite nicely for him as he exited the infield section. Just seemed to have sort of an overspeed run, and indeed got the move done quite nicely. So the BMW Dynamic Racing Team car moving up the order at a very rapid rate. So Arama, just a little bit of a twitch again. They're currently second, and indeed, look at the gap. 34 seconds. Jim's going to be lapping cars before soon enough. Like, this is absolutely insane pace from car 44. Currently holds the fastest lap of the race of 1:14.972. Someone's gone off in the gravel. They've span out. Who was that? That was Spinny Boy Mika. We're just gonna have to see what happened to them on this one. So there's coming through the infield section relatively normal, and the car just seemed to just carry too much speed, went into the gravel and then just span out all over the racetrack. That dropped them down a couple positions. Now they're down into 6th. Oh, got a bit of work to do. Let's pull them behind Joe Mondrin. There indeed, you see car number 88 up ahead of him. These two would appear to be the closest on track at this point. We're going to go on board with him as he has somehow managed to catch that. I have no idea how he's managed to do that. You're probably not going to get a pay rise, but still. So the gap has increased after that little bit of slide McGee-ness, trademark of all Nuke Shot Motorsport cars. But yeah, Mika's got to put in a shift if he wants to be on the podium at this rate. Someone who's pretty much got their head down from start up till this point has been GRM Bandit, managing to get his way up to 3rd by being consistently consistent. Car 35 doing a fantastic job in the Nuco Osso team. In fact, he's only around 3 seconds behind Arama, so it could be a chance that he could close up and possibly take 2nd. That would be an interesting little thing if that was to happen. We'll have to see how it develops. Indeed, John Wandering coming under a bit of pressure now from Spinny Boy Mika. The gap nearly at that golden 7/10. We'll go rear wing cam on John Wandering's car. Of course, Ford power versus Cosworth power. clip the gravel. That wasn't to my particular liking, as RBZ has gone into the pits in, well, probably a futile attempt of getting an undercut on Jim. Surprised they're in at this stage, given they have to swap to mediums, as Mika has had a fantastic run out of the last corner and has got the position before the braking zone. Will John Wandering be able to challenge him? No, he will not. So Mika climbing his way back up the order, as Arama has exited the pits just behind Roland, interestingly enough. So it's got a bit of a slipstream buddy as he goes up the hill towards turn 2, splitting both of the Alfa Romeos in fact. Well, in fact, there was a bit of a mistake from... is that Roland? We'll have to see if we can catch that. What was that? It just seemed to get a bit of oversteer on the exit, it would seem. So easily done out of turn 2. I'd hate to imagine what it's like actually with stock setup here. Well, there was a little bit of track extending, it would seem, from Arama through that infield section. A lot of cars do tend to do that to get the widest entry possible for that complex, carry as much speed as they can without running off the road. That's generally the way that you have to balance it out around here at Red Bull Ring. So car 7 looking like they're challenging again car number 34. Go on an onboard there as they're actually banging wheels. And what switchback that was, as the leader Jim goes into the pit switching to mediums. We'll have to see all of this from the outside shot. So it was Roland, and you see the banging of wheels between the two of them, and then Arama switches to the outside, effectively runs to Narnia though, so have to give up that position. And indeed Arama back behind Roland at this stage. These guys are catching John Wandering. It's only around 2 seconds or so. Well, very feisty stuff between these guys. Again, look at this. BRT Jim, even after his pit stop, 40 seconds ahead, 46, 47. It's fluctuating quite a lot. Oh, it's just gone to around 29 to 30 seconds or so. Still extremely impressive stuff. So you see Spinny Boy Maker also making his way up the order. Dynamic Carbon now in the final podium position, so he's really worked his way back up. Car 24 doing a good job in that sense. And again, GRM Bandit in second at this point. Still probably has to make a pit stop. Could be wrong. He's on mediums. I think he started on the mediums. So I'm surprised he hasn't pit at this stage and just gone for the softs. Oh, he's right on the limits. Unbelievable scenes here at Red Bull Ring. He just set his personal best flat. John Wandering is again being caught by Arama, so Arama has got ahead of Roland somehow through all of that. Really can't get a replay of that, unfortunately, as the two teammates are battling it out, and up ahead as well. Oh, there's contact. We're gonna have to see if we can get a bit of a replay. I've got a marker set. Oh, the Alfa Romeos are absolutely swamping John Wandering at this stage. Oh, there's contact. Really unfortunate to see. We're just gonna have to see whatever Arama managed to pull off. Relatively simple down the inside. Looked like he might have gone off to Narnia a bit. And then it was the Alfa Romeos just swamping the Nuco Osso car. And then just seemed to just plow into the side of him. Surprised John Wandering managed to keep that in a straight line with the stock setup. Through all of that, GRM Bandit has actually been caught by Spinny Boy Mika. Mika's going to the outside line of the infield and has got ahead before the braking zone. And indeed, GRM Bandit coming into the pits, his tyres must have been giving up at that point. So as he's into the pits, it is still current race leader BRT Jim leading us off with a very healthy gap now, 35 seconds. Dynamic Carbon promoted to second place after the pit stops. Indeed, John Wandering also going into the pits. So that's both Nuka Osso cars double stacking. A bit of an interesting one. Bandits just exited the pits now in 7th. They're on their new soft compound tyres. Spinning Boy Mika up into 3rd. And there's another scrap going on. Brandon and Arama again. These two keep on fighting each other very hard. Again, a little bit too much contact than I would like, but still very risky stuff in Formula cars, of course. They are not the sturdiest of things, especially compared to the DTM cars that we've been running in the other series on the channel. Again, all over the outside. So many anti-cut bumps. And so it's just to encourage cars to keep it clean, as somehow Brandon's managed to go down the inside. It's going to be a drag race to turn 2. They're just trying to squeeze each other's lines a little bit. Brandon not quite fully ahead. He's going to have to leave the racing room on the outside. And he's gone over the curb too much and has bounced over the apex. And he's spun out and into the wall. That's damage for the car. Car number 11. That's a drastic mistake from Brandon. And from 5th place, it's a question of how far down he's probably going to drop. Is he going to carry on with the damage he has? Or pit? We'll have to see. It might be beneficial at this point just to stay out, because I doubt you'd be able to gain much if you do lose the time from pitting. It was 7 minutes, 30 seconds to go in this one. But I was thinking that it was just going to keep up building and building with that battle with Thumb and Arama until something drastic happened, and indeed that was the unfortunate case. So Dynamic Carbon currently on soft. We believe he started on the medium, so he hasn't got any pit stops to do, so it's been a fantastic strategy by the series organizer of Dynamic Racing Leagues. Only got a 17-second gap to Spinny Boy Mika, but it's still 33 seconds back from this guy, the man of the moment, BRT Jim. There's yellow flags up ahead. Who's that? That's been Roland. So what's happened to Roland? He was in a bit of a scrap with John Wandering, was that? He just seems to run wide. Oh wait, no, that was Bandit. That was car 35. And he just oversteered trying to get on the power. So both Alfa Romeos stricken with damage. And just falling down the order because of it. Oh, he nearly lagged his way into the gravel trap as well. Not that good. GRM Bandit about to be lapped by Jim, who has been absolutely on fire. We could call him Jim of the Fire if that was his username, but it's not, so we'll call him Jim, because that's his username. Anyway, the blue flag seemed to have worked. Bandit gets out of the way. And indeed, lapping continues for our race leader. So Dynamic Carbon, still second. Still on a complete island by himself, 16 seconds behind, 34 seconds in front. Spinny Boy Mika, meanwhile, only has his teammate for company, about 3.5 seconds back. So not too much pressure as we enter the final 5 minutes of the race. It is indeed RBZ Arama. Just coming across the line to start there, lap 20. In fifth by himself is indeed the still damaged Alfa Romeo of Brandon. So they are deciding that it is beneficial for them to just stay out rather than to pit at this point, and indeed with the kind of gap they have 7.5 seconds, it does seem to be that way, as there was a bit of close action on track again. It would appear there was just Bandit and Jim having a bit of a scrap. So the lap traffic getting in a little bit of a fight, but nonetheless, all is fair, I suppose, in Love and Robot Wars and DTM now. So Roland, car 7, looked so strong. They were up in a podium position near the start of this, all the way down, matching their racing number, unfortunately in 7th. That is a curse that I too also have, finishing 9th at the Nürburgring 1 hour, held by the Nookshot Endurance Series. So, I feel you, I feel your pain, but he's sticking with it. He's 11 seconds or so behind Bandit. John wondering, I doubt he'd be able to catch up unless Roland makes another mistake. With only around 3 minutes left to go. Indeed, that is certainly looking to be the case, although John wondering, oh, he himself actually has a bit of damage, so that would explain why he's not been having the kind of pace that we'd expect from him. Also, you may note that the red bar, or the red light that's showing above his airbox, or around it rather, that means that he's in his final quarter of the overtake mode. So he's got through that quite a fair bit, as indeed we're now seeing Brandon and Bandit getting quite close to each other. So wait, wasn't Brandon behind Bandit? I can't quite remember. Well, Bandit's going around the outside, and he's having to try and fight his way through. There's a bit more contact. Now heading up towards the second to last corner. Bandit's probably looking to try it around the outside. Brandon's car, indeed with the damage, it just can't fight. But again, just trying his best as Bandit just runs wide on the exit of the last corner. Track limits being violated quite a lot by a lot of people, it would seem. But yeah, Brandon, really unfortunate, they're just not able to fight. As Fernando Alonso once said the opposite. Really unfortunate that they had that damage after their collision with Arama. No doubt the stewards will probably investigate that. They got even more damage. In fact, they do have more damage. They've somehow managed to get engine damage. So we've completely missed that, but the damage has extremely increased. But that is extremely unfortunate for them, and even more unfortunate for us, and for you guys, unfortunately. Can't quite get a replay of that because it was a bit too far back, but we're now in the last minute of the race. Brandon is just going to have to bring the car home and just hope for the best. That is an extremely sad opening round for the Alfa Romeo squad as a whole, it would seem. 6th and probably 7th. It's still yet to be confirmed, of course, but Brandon's still staying away from the pits, still valiantly going on. Indeed, using the overtake mode to sort of counteract a little bit of the damage. Will he be able to hold on? We don't know. Dynamic Carbon currently 2nd as the clock has ticked down to 0 as he makes his way towards the last turn. He hasn't been lapped, so he should be good for one more. We'll have to see. Really? In fact, no, it is confirmed that Dynamic Carbon is 2nd, Spinny Boy Mika 3rd, and RBZ of Rama, who caught right back up, in 4th. So it was as soon as the timer went that the checkered flag was out for everyone. But it is race winner here today. It is Jim 387. Fantastic drive for the Raven West Mercedes driver today. Absolute domination. Well put, Jeremy. Took the words right out of my mouth as I said it. That what an absolutely impressive and dominant display from Jim here today. Again, car 44 must have something to do with it. Bandit comes home in 5th in the end. The stricken Brandon does manage to take home 6th at the end of all that. John Wandering gets 7th, and in fact Roland finishes 8th. They also picked up full damage. So really, really unfortunate showing for the Alfa Romeo squad today. They'll be hoping to do better next time out, but of course we can't take anything away from our race winner, Jim. Congratulations, one absolute masterclass of a performance here today. We hope that you've enjoyed the action that has been provided from the first round of DRL Super Formula. I certainly have. It has been absolutely show-stopping, and we're only at round 1, so it can only get better. Next round out, we will be heading for, drumroll please, Monza is our next stop on the calendar. That will be on the 3rd of the 5th, so the 3rd of May. Hope that you guys will be tuning in for that. Of course, that was just race 1. I've just realised there is a second race, so there is more stuff coming. Here's me thinking it was all over, but no, we still have even more action. This one will be 20 minutes. Indeed, it's going to take me a while to get used to this format. I'm not used to having 2 races in the same day. Hello to your boy Klondike in the chat. If it was me from 5 minutes earlier, I would have said to you that you've just missed it, but no, we still have race 2 to go, a 20-minute race. And everyone is starting on mediums for this one by regulation, we're hearing. Regarding the points, it's pole position's 4 points, and is, of course, Jim 38737 who took the win. That'll be 25 points for them. That is bagged. It'll be 18 points for Dynamic Carbon. It'll be 15 points for Spinny Boy Mika, 12 points for Arama, 10 points for Bandit. Brandon will have to settle for 8 points, 6 points for John Wandering, and 4 points for Roland at the end of that. So everyone's scoring points. Of course, 8 cars in the race, 8 slots eligible for points. Only 15 points available for top honours in race 2. However, no doubt Jim will be looking to extend his gap. Yes, I should be ready for race 2. As long as you've set the grid correctly, then we should be alright. So of course it's the top 8 reversed based on race 1 results, so that's essentially the whole grid order shuffled back. So the Alfa Romeos will actually be starting very high up the order for race 2. And indeed, thank you, GRM Bandit, spreading the love in the race lobby chat. What an amazing race 1 that we've just had. There's still more action to come. And indeed, it would appear that Arama's enjoying his time as a part of Nookshop Motorsport. Why wouldn't you? It is the greatest of racing teams. Not just online racing teams, but racing teams in general. Indeed, there is one more race tonight. The 20-minute one. And no, I will not ignore you and your stupidity, Jeremy, in the chat. Yes, I can insult people all I like, because I have that kind of power. Fantastic stuff. Oh dear. Carbon, you shouldn't have given me this kind of power. I have no idea why you've decided to let me do this, but thanks anyway. Roland still says that they're on the soft compound, so you better get that checked out. Everyone's starting on the mediums for this one. We'll just check what should be the grid order. There's still just the 8 cars, so it'll be this order reversed. So it'll be Roland on pole, John Wondering alongside in second, Brandon third, Bandit fourth, Arama shall be 5th, Spinny Boy Miko will have a bit of work to do in 6th, as will Dynamic Carbon, who will be 7th, and of course Race Winner will have it all to do starting in 8th. So we're hearing that someone will be back in 3 minutes or so. We believe that is who was that? I'm probably blind and not seeing it. It was someone. Oh, it's Brandon's teammate, so that would be Roland, the second Irishman. As the neighbours are getting quite loud in my local residence, I wonder if there's like a Liverpool match on or something, because they are Liverpool fans, and they tend to get quite loud whenever they score a goal. Ah, the benefits of living in a semi-detached. Good times, good times. It shouldn't be overly long until we get race 2 underway. It says here on the schedule that it should be starting approximately 5 minutes after race 1 finishes. We're probably having a little bit of a delay due to just making sure everyone's ready and such. Indeed, Brandon just making sure. He says that he'll be back in 3. Hopefully that's 3 minutes and not 3 hours. I won't be around at midnight tonight, unfortunately. Klondike can't wait for the action to start, neither can I. And it would appear that at approximately 9:08 today, that Roland has passed away. Very unfortunate. Please can we have some F's in chat for Roland? Yeah, I'll start you off on my my own YouTube account, Nookshot Motorsport. Be sure to click on that and subscribe to me. You can also subscribe to Dynamic Racing Leagues if you want. It's a channel that we're currently broadcasting on, not part of the radio show limited network of channels, and probably never will be, but I'll keep that meme going for as long as I can. One day I'll be joined with John Hindhaugh in the booth, and we'll see. One day. Indeed, GRM Bandit saying F in the lobby chat. Nice to have so many of the drivers actually joining in for the stream. Hope that my commentary has been alright so far. Might have missed a couple moments here or there, but I think we've captured most of the action and overtakes for the most part. At least as good as I can. It's quite helpful having the replay feature with this magnificent keyboard, which I've managed to find out the closet. We're having about a minute counter, it would say, so 2 minutes left. Jim is also making a pit stop, and in fact Jim's back, so I don't know how long that was. Your boy Klondike saying no. I assume that's regarding whether you think I've done an okay job with the commentary. So thanks for the encouragement. It is much appreciated, and this is why you're all peasants to me, personally. This is just cyberbullying at this point. I can't tolerate this. Well, Griddle's been changed to set by host, so of course Carbon will be setting that up. Technically with 8 cars he could just do reverse grid based on previous race results, and it should in theory work. However, he's not taking any chances, and I can't blame him, especially with how the servers have been acting up recently on GT Sport. Are these fire suits waterproof? Oh, I don't know. Maybe if you win the race, then they'll probably chuck you in the pool that they have in the paddock as like a celebration thing. I know that happens on a few occasions. I think... Oh, I can't remember where exactly that was. It might have been Monaco back in the day, at the actual swimming pool, but I don't know. Jupiter causing crashes. No, yeah, Roland. Yeah, because they're still on the track, technically, so it's not like you can get rid of them. The LP1, of course, is Roland. Just want to have a look at the results again. Shout out to Albion Aria for... wow, that just sounded mad. Oh, does that username really just troll me? Fantastic. Anyway, take the results from the last race and flip them on their head. That will be the result, or the result. That will be the grid for this current race, which we're having underway. Jim managed to lap everyone on that last outing. The race is starting. As I assume Roland's back. Can I quickly check? Oh, he hasn't said. Regardless, we are here again for race 2 of the second race here at Red Bull Ring here today. John wandering on pole, of course. Roland's been put to the back of the grid. So, That's a bit of an interesting choice. I mean, if he doesn't move off the grid, he's still just going to be a mobile chicane once they all lap round. Well, in fact, they're all off. Except for Roland, of course, so he's just going to be a mobile chicane, it would seem. So John Wandering leads them off. Brandon immediately down the inside, but runs wide, as does John Wandering. Everyone else seems to be keeping it in shape at the moment, so John Wandering still leads. He's leaving the door open on the inside for Brandon to challenge on the brakes. Will he get a cutback? No, Brandon plays that pretty much perfectly, although he didn't leave any room for him on the outside. Both of the Nuka Osso cars running extremely wide through all of that. Look at this, a fantastic scrap. Nearly 4 wide in places, going down the straight, 3 wide into turn 1. Now it's Brandon and Arama challenging for the first place honours, and Arama has somehow managed to get it done down the inside of turn 3. So John Wanderer has slipped down the order into 3rd. Roland still parked in 8th on the grid, and the cars are coming round. So luckily he's not on the racing line part of the grid. But Brandon's starting to break away. Gonna have to break away early before this guy, Jim, manages to catch up. In fact, no, Jim there. As there's yellow flags, as that was Brandon going wide. There's yellow flags because of the stranded car of Roland. And if anything, that's just going to prohibit cars from overtaking without getting a penalty. On the straight, they're 3 wide, going into turn 1. And that was Jim left hang out to dry through all of that. So John Wandering and GRM Bandit in the pits already. They're switching onto their softs now, so just getting that 1 lap out of the way, and now they'll have clean air and each other to work with in terms of slipstream. So that could certainly work out for the Nuka Osso lads. Tactics playing out. Of course, everyone's starting on the mediums. You would want to say stay soft as long as you can. So they're making the way through the infield section. Carbon it is that's currently in 2nd, challenging Brandon. Brandon's gap less than the 7/10, so oh, he's again ran wide. Still yellow flags as Roland is still just on the track. Mika and Arama also coming into the pits as Carbon goes down the inside, no doubt using the overtake mode from that. Brandon shaky on the exit, and now they'll have Jim for company as well. So Jim making an absolute charge in the Raven West Mercedes car, the Benson and Hedges sponsored machine, down the inside on the exit of turn 2. Looks like he has very solid traction provided to him. Yokohama rubber working a treat for Jim. He's still down the inside. Brandon trying to squeeze him towards the apex. They're still side by side. It looks Jim is using the overtake mode to just about get ahead and take the track position. Looked like Brandon might have challenged down the inside again. Not quite on this occasion, and indeed Jim is just absolutely storming along. Brandon looking to overtake him. He's down the inside, more than alongside. And Jim is certainly going to have to fight more for this one as he bails for the pits, understandably so. A bit further back we have GRM Bandit and RBZ Arama, and in fact Skinny Boy Mika as well, so a Nuka Osso car in a nuke shot sandwich. As Bandit runs wide and has actually gone to Narnia. Say hello to Aslan for me, Sunshine. Sunshine? What on earth? I'm like an 80-year-old man here in the commentary booth. But that's promoted Mika up into 5th as John Wanderer has gone into the pits again, so they've already made a pit stop. But now they're in the pits again, so they must have picked up damage. Spinny Boy Mika and RBZ Arama, the 2 nuke shot teammates in the motor sponsored machines. charging along. 4th and 5th respectively. The Nuka also car of Bandits still there in 6th. Indeed, the overtaking on the yellow thing. I think the game would just give you a penalty if it is done. I think that's how it's worked before in like online lobbies and stuff, even if penalties for corner cutting are off. I mean, perhaps you joining right now, Jeremy, would sort of throw off the drivers with the saying with the message of you joining. I don't know. Dynamic Carbon with a 3.7 second gap over Brandon. Oh, Jim, who I believe is the highest up of the ones who have made their pit stops. And he's got a lot of clean air, so again, Jim in a really strong position at this point. As Bandit looking to get a little bit closer to Arama. Looking to give the Dutchman a little bit of trouble. Making their way through turn 3. It opens up. They all seem to go through there quite nicely. No one running too wide and clipping the gravel. It's a costly mistake if that is done. Only 7 minutes gone in this one. Arama still looking to chase down their teammate Mika. Again, everyone seems to be understeering off to Narnia this race. As RBZ sets their personal fastest. Blue flags? Wait, was that the blue flag light? What was going on there? Was that... I assume that was just for Roland, who's technically many laps down at this stage. I assume it'd just be for them, because I really doubt that Carbon would have got round already. You can really see them putting on the pressure. Roland has indeed left the lobby, so we won't have to worry about the yellow flags anymore. Again, really unfortunate for whatever happened to them, as the Arama's really overcooked it, have they? They've just about managed to hold on to that. Oh, it looked like they was braking so late for the corner on that occasion. But they managed to keep it together. Fantastic racing. Oh, as Mika's just clipped the gravel, we just caught that. And race leader Dynamic Carbon's gone into the pits. Mika's done a very good job to hold on to that. Of course, they made a mistake last race in a very similar area of the track, where it didn't go according to their plan at all. Again, Mika and Arama still battling it out. They seem to have got a little bit of a gap to GRM Bandit now. Oh, it's running wide, both of them again. And in fact, Spinny Boy Mika currently fastest set to 1 of anyone as they go purple, so good stuff. Also, in terms of strategy, this guy, Dynamic Carbon, has come back out after their pit stop behind Jim. So Jim with the undercut on the softs, certainly paying off, and now it's just a case of how long this guy, Brandon, is willing to stay out there on the mediums, because he will have to pit. And the more time that he spends on the mediums, the less time he'll have to use on the softs. You gotta think, even with the tyre wear, that you probably want to spend more time on the softs than the mediums. Again, the Nuke Shot car is just going off to Narnia so many times. But it's still proving to be a very tight scrap between the two. Mika going wide at turn 1. These guys driving beyond their limits, it would seem. Still Arama 2/10 purple as Mika's ran wide, and that's allowing the teammate to go down the inside. of turn 2 in fantastic fashion. So with just about half of the race gone, I can't finish the rest of that phrase due to copyright with another commentary channel. But we'll carry on, we'll see how it goes. There's a car going slowly. Who's that? Oh, it's Spinny Boy Mika. What happened to him? He's dropped down. Didn't quite catch it. Oh, he just had a massive twitch. And indeed just picked up damage from that. That's extremely unfortunate. The question is, does he pit and lose more time, or does he stay out? He does choose to pit. It's 26 seconds in hand to John Wandering, so we'll have to monitor where he comes out regarding that. But that is, again, really unfortunate stuff for the Flying Dutchman. Getting a bit too sensitive on the throttle. So Bandit's actually managed to get the gap down a bit, it would seem, to a Rama. Ford-powered car doing a very good job. Of course, Bandit's helmet, the purple and blue of suicide prevention, has been a theme that he's been running for quite some time now. See, right on the limit through the middle sector. Again, just looking to close down on a Rama. The gap now down to 5/10, and again lowering. It's absolute understeer city, it would seem, at this point. GRM Bandit. Oh, what was that? A Rama just moved out the way of him there. We'll have to check. Does a Rama have damage? He does. When did a Rama pick that up? That was quite an odd one, but it would seem that well, the two teams are related. The Nuke Shot team being the senior team of the Nuko Oslo squad. And I believe these guys are in the same team radio together, so perhaps there's just a bit of communication saying probably that Arama didn't want to hold him up. That's my only guess as to what that might be. However, about 7 minutes left to go. Brandon still leads. Still yet to pit, if I am mistaken. Indeed, he still is on the mediums. So Brandon, if you are listening in, you are going to have to pit at some point. As Arama is into the pits themselves, no doubt that is to repair the damage they have. That's going to probably drop them back towards the range of Spinny Boy Mika, their teammate. So the Dutch destroyers pretty much destroying their cars. Not the greatest thing in the world at the moment, especially because it's my money that funds these cars, but still. In fact, they do come out quite a significant way ahead of Spinny Boy Mika. Mika coming across the start-finish line and into turn 1. Gap between them and John Wandering, actually. 5.2 seconds, so John Wandering certainly within a chance of getting 6th. Was the top 8 score points. Technically, I wonder, I suppose because he was a DNF, that Roland wouldn't score points for the Alfa Romeo squad, so hold that thought, I suppose. But now, BRT Jim has been absolutely storming along, but Brandon's managed to get the gap up to 8.1 seconds. It's going down a little bit on the straight as Jim appears to be using the overtake mode to his advantage. He's currently purple in sector 1. And indeed, you see in the background, we have Dynamic Carbon only 2.3 seconds back, so keeping the pressure on him, just waiting for Jim to perhaps make a mistake. No such mistakes from Jim as of yet. So Brandon, with his last lap being a 1:16.1, compared to the fastest lap of the race by Jim, a 1:14.6. Not the fastest, but still chugging along. Of course, after they've made their mandatory pit stop, and they should be behind them, the gap is certainly falling down, although you see the tyre wear is next to nothing. Like, the only reason that you would pit is because it's mandatory. I'm just assuming that it is mandatory for race 2 like it is for race 1. It must be, surely. It'd be kind of daft if the rules would change regarding that. But I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of cars that have already pitted because of that reason. The gap down to 5.5 seconds. So of the ones that have pitted, it is Jim who is race leader. Or technically race leader. Carbon also made their pit stop in the BMW powered machine of Dynamic Racing Team. Very strong showing for him in this race. A decent showing from him in the last race as well, to be fair. So he's been doing quite well. Only sits third, but of course second of cars that have made their pit stop. Again, I'm extremely surprised to see Brandon not making a pit stop. GRM Bandit coming under the Red Bull Mobile sign and heading up towards turn 2. Solid on the brakes. Oh, little slip on the exit of the curb. Again, so easy to lose the cars. These drivers are extremely impressive in order to just keep the car from spinning on every single corner exit with the stock setup. Might I remind you viewers at home. Arama, of course, did pick up damage earlier on in the race that forced them to pit, but they're currently 5th, making their way down to turn 3. Spinny Boy Mika, their teammate, car 37. Again, the same situation with as happened to Arama rather. That's a tongue twister and a half, but yeah, picked up damage, forced to pit. They're 6th. John wondering, oh, they're on the grass. We'll have to see what happened here, as there was blue flags for them, as I believe that was Brandon going through. Oh, they just completely overshot it. No surprise they picked up front aero from that, or front aero damage, as they're just waiting on the side of the track for the leaders to go through. Fair play to them for not interfering, I suppose, with a potential final for the lead. The good thing about John Wondering is he is a very sporting driver in that sense. With about less than a minute to go, we have Brandon still not pitting. He's got to pit this time, surely. No, he doesn't. He is still on the mediums, so that is an indication that he's probably going to be disqualified for that. I wouldn't be surprised. Either way, Jim in the background, you can see he's less than a second back from him, nearly in that 7/10 of juicy slipstream range. In fact, he is indeed. You can see he's so much more confident on the brakes compared to Brandon. Of course, the tyres making a drastic difference. Oh, having to defend for all his life. Will Jim try to dive it round the outside? The clock ticks to 0. They're still side by side. Jim trying to hang it round. There's contact as Jim oversteered into him, but Brandon still managed to hold on to it. Spinny Boy Mika's crossed the line meanwhile. We won't cut to that as there's still a battle for technically the lead, even though Brandon will no doubt be disqualified unless there isn't a rule regarding the pit stop being mandatory. Jim down the inside of the second to last turn. There's more contact, and that sent Brandon off to Narnia, but Brandon's still ahead. Brandon will come across the line to technically take the race win, but I believe it is Jim who is the actual race winner because he made the mandatory pit stop. If that is the case, then Dynamic Carbon will come across the line for second. GRM Bandit will come across for a podium result, if that is indeed the case. Arama will be picking up 4th, and Mika will be 5th, John Wanderer will be 6th. It's all a question of regarding whether Brandon will be penalized or something for not changing tires. Oh, we're hearing that the pit stop's optional for race 2, allegedly, so I'll have to check that in the rules. I've got this up on my phone real quick. I'll check this, and if it is indeed the case, then that would be a race win for Brandon. Oh, where is it? Rules and penalties. Indeed, a pit stop in race 2 is optional. So with that being the case, it is Brandon who is our second race winner here today. So congratulations to them. My apologies for getting the rules a little bit mixed up. So congratulations to them. It was an interesting strategy to choose to not make a pit stop, and indeed it did seem to pay off for them. So they take the win and the 15 points that comes with it. 12 points will go to Jim for finishing second, only 6/10 between those two. Further 3 seconds back was Dynamic Carbon. He'll be taking 10 points. 8 points will go for GRM Bandit. RBZ Arama will be taking 6 points. Spinny Boy Mika will be taking 4 points. And John Wanderer, the last of the finishers, will be taking home 2 points here today. Indeed, there was quite a lot of onion barges there. I said it. Famous quote. But no doubt things will be reviewed in the stewards chat on Discord. We'll have to see. But again, the race didn't disappoint at all. Much like the preview event that we had here, it's been absolutely exciting from start to finish. And we hope that you have enjoyed the action as much as I have. As I believe I said at the end of race 1, the second round of the season will be held at Monza, so we're not travelling overly far. We're just making a trip down to Italy, staying in continental Europe. So again, I hope you've enjoyed the racing and action that we've had here today. This has been Off Apple, aka Nuke Shot Motorsport, aka whatever, part of the DRL Limited Network, but not the Radio Show Limited Network of channels. Congratulations to our race winners, and we hope to see you in Monza. Goodbye, folks.